So, good afternoon, one and all. So, I'm very much happy to welcome again Mr. Suresh for this session. As mentioned earlier, there is a change in schedule. Mr. Suresh will cover this topic, how to build an augmented reality strategy for your business now. Because of continuity of our previous session, which we changed like this. So, in this meeting, the chat box was enabled. So the participants are requested to make use of the chat box to interact with Mr. Suresh. Now I handed over the session to Mrs. Suresh. Suresh, please.
Yeah, I'll share my presentation. Hope my presentation is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So this session will not have any audio or videos. Having understood what is AR and what are the benefits of AR, what are the various use cases of AR, and how different people have got benefited because of AR. Let's see. No, AR is a umbrella under which there are a lot of things which we need to know. So how do we work out the framework? Suppose we have to deploy AR, be it for an enterprise or be it for creating a center of excellence or lab in an academic institute also. We need to know all these things. So let's understand all that in this session. So ideally, we need to look at what should be the strategy of AR, how the content required for augmented reality will be created, and what is the mode of delivery to the end users. So these are the main things which we need to understand. So in each we have like reality. What type of reality will your user experience? What is the device which they will use? What are the various platforms they will support? The capabilities which you would like to leverage, the sensors which you would like to stimulate. Similarly, in content, will you use a 3D model? How will you author the experience? What all other information do you require to augment? Where will you source the content from? How will you configure your information? Then in delivery, how will you initiate the experience? How will you anchor the content? How will you track the location of the physical context in your experience? How will you send the information from the device to the user? And how will you get the feedback from the user? So like that, there are broad topics and further which we have to dig down. So in short, we have to understand about what should be the strategy, what should be the content, and what should be the delivery framework. So let's discuss all these one by one. Sorry. So in the strategy, what should be the reality type? Should it be assisted? Should it be augmented? Or should it be virtual reality? So assisted means you are not getting a complete 3D experience in front of you. You are being assisted with additional information which you can see through a particular device so that you can do that instead of carrying the legacy instructions on hard copy or something else. Like I was giving you one example of the telephone tower operator or service person. If he requires an assisted reality, that means he requires the service instructions, but not something which he should be carrying in physical copy, but something which he can see through his eyes, the same exact replica, a soft copy of that he can see, and he cannot carry a computer to the tower. So, but he wanted to see that instruction in a soft copy. Then how do we do that? So that's an example of assisted reality. So for example, in this case, if it is assisted, then you will use this device, RealWear from HMT. This you'll have a very small screen here and you have to adjust your eyes to this small screen. You can wear it on your head, and you will, once you adjust, you will see those things here. So either with sound command or with, you know, with your uh, commands with which you can do with finger, you can actually move between contents. Now, if you really want a augmented content like you saw in many of the use cases in my earlier session, then you would require these devices, either a tab or iPad or a mobile device or a HoloLens. These are the ones which you will mainly require if you want a augmented experience. If you want a totally virtual experience, then you can go for such devices like Vive or Oculus and all those kind of things. Here, the entire experience is virtual. There is no superimposition of the virtual experience in the physical context. You are seeing everything inside this box. You will be taken to that particular world through a virtual experience. You can understand many things, right? So then you will go for such devices. So that we have to first decide. Now, second one would be, what kind of device will you use for the AR experience? Will you go for monocular? Will you go for a phone or tablet? Or will you use some kind of 3D projectors? Or will you use head up display? Or will you use head mounted display? Right? So these are the various options. So then if it is like one which is available to everyone, then you will go for iPads or tabs or mobile phones. If you want your hands to be free while experiencing the AR reality, then you can go for such hands-free headwears. Now, if you want heads-up display like this, which should come in, say, for example, in a car windshield, then you require, you know, things which can give you heads-up display. So there are a lot of things which are involved in this. So display will come, and through a set of mirrors, you can actually make it as a head-up display, a virtual image in front of your eyes. And there are head mounted display also, where on the visor of your helmet, for example, the instructions will be given. The second thing what you have to check is, what are the platforms where this AR experience will support? Will it be proprietary platform? Will it be iOS, Android, Universal Windows platform, or any cross-platform or multi-platform? So it is supported in multiple of these platforms, so you have to decide on that, whether it is iOS, Android, Microsoft, and other platforms. So that is the second thing which we have to understand, the device and the platform. The third thing in the strategy is, what are the AR capabilities which you will leverage? Will you leverage AR for just visualization? Will you leverage it for instructing a particular person on the field? Or will you leverage it for guiding a particular person on the field? Or will you leverage it in such a way that the person can interact with the AR experience? Or will you leverage it just to augment your 5 senses? Or will you leverage it for just recognizing something? Or will you leverage a programmatic AR experience? So if you are visualizing, then it will look like something like this. If you are instructing somebody, then it will look like that BAE example. If you are making it as a logical program, then spatial toolbox is something which you can use. Or if you want to augment some of your senses, which is our senses, then you should have those capabilities inbuilt inside the AR experience. Similarly, in the senses, which one would you like to stimulate more? Is it the sight or the sound or the touch? So if it is just the sight, then you will not augment the experience with audio things included, because in an augmented reality experience, you can have audio as well as video, right? And if you want to have sound also, then you add audio instructions. Even say, for example, like you say, hi Alexa, hey Alexa, or hi Siri, or okay Google, like that. Each of these devices will have its own, what do you call that, voice command instructions. So like HoloLens has got Cortana. So we say, hey Cortana, and then you tell, okay, show me the next step or next step or next step, something like that. So you can initiate that with sound. Something we may have to initiate with your fingers, like if it is a human machine interface virtual, then you have to touch something, then something will happen. Say on a mobile phone or iPad, you have to press a widget or click a widget inside the experience, then something should happen. So that is touch, right? So in the strategy, you saw what should be the reality, what type of device, what platforms, what capabilities, and what sensors. And then you saw what the details of all that. Now coming to the content. So will you have a 3D reference model to represent the physical setting, a digital 3D reference model? And if you have that, then there is a separate content creation. So suppose if you are referring a model, then whether it should be using a surface plane, or whether it should be a kind of scanning an image, or whether it is scanning an object model itself, or whether it is scanning a spatial model, or whether it is just a 3D object capture, or whether it is a spatial capture. So now if you see here, if you are not referring to any 3D model, then you can use such realwares, right? There's nothing, no 3D model, nothing coming up here, just soft copies. If you are looking for, surface planes, then you need to have these kind of well-lit floors, not shiny, which are flat and on which you tap where the experience need to come. If you are looking for image marker, then it could be a thing mark. We call it as thing mark. In this, if you see the center one, this is the logo of PTC. The actual code is around this. So you can also replace this logo with your institution's logo or your company's logo. Then if it is 3D models, then as you saw in some of the Howden examples, a silhouette of this model is matched with the physical model, and then the experience is launched. Royal Enfield has used this technique for sales and marketing. What they do is, as soon as you go and match the silhouette of a Royal Enfield bike, the related experience comes up. Then that means the complete digital model of the bike is exactly superimposed on the physical model. And thereafter, the customer can select what are the various accessories he would like to see them fitted on the physical bike which is in front of him. So if he picks a front visor, a digital model of the front visor will be superimposed in the real life size on top of the physical model. Similarly, he says, I want a leg guard, or I want to change the seat color to red. I want a side bag. All those things already, the content would be there as 3D models, and in the digital 3D models, they will be superimposed over the AR digital superimposed bike, which he sees through his iPad or phone. Then spatial capture is coming up as a great technique. There are a lot of companies like Matterport, etc. What they do is they use 360-degree cameras and then they scan the entire space. And this entire space, while they scan, it is then converted into meshes, and that meshes is then converted into a spatial model. And then this spatial model can be used in augmented reality for various studies, maybe space study or method study or transportation study or walk through a factory layout. A complete factory can be scanned, and then a digital walkthrough through the factory can be created as an AR experience. So in that, what happens is that you can also work on that 3D content to change the layout of that space. You can move one place to another and all those things. Say if somebody is trying to figure out how to design the interiors of their home, so they can have multiple options by moving some standard from the standard library, placing something or moving something which is already there and all those kind of things. So once you capture that in the digital model, then you have so much of flexibility. So this is a great way of doing it, particularly for space optimizations and factory layouts or walkthroughs, etc. Next thing is, how will you create that experience? Do you want to do a lot of coding? If maybe a computer engineer would prefer a lot of coding to get a lot of different experiences or customizing it. Do you want to just author it by using the standard library or by using something which is already available in the solution, or whatever solutions we integrate with by using that? Or do you want to capture that experience? You want to capture the audio, video, and images and all those things, and then make it into an AR experience. So the Vuforia Expert Capture is an example of that. Or will it be an ad hoc way? I think somebody has to mute their phone. So if the approach is to code, then you need to go for the software engineers who will code for you. They may have to use 3D apps with computer vision engine. Now, if somebody has to author, then you may have to look at technical publishers who create a lot of 3D web content and publishing. Then if somebody has to capture, then it will be applicable for frontline workers, the people who are having that expertise in that particular field. They will capture and replay for the frontline workers. And if it is ad hoc, whatever I see and that I make it as an experience, then anybody could be a contributor, and the cost involved for each of these approach increases like this. So it's the smallest for ad hoc and highest for creating with coding. See, when you do coding, what happens is that you have to be really very structured, and you should have a proper framework. You should also have a plan for change management. In coding, what happens if after doing everything, if there is a change which has to be incorporated, people do not work only on that change. They fear that the entire previous coding may get affected. So they tend to create again everything from scratch. So the flexibility actually reduces. However, something which has been authored with whatever is available in the solution, it can be further augmented with more customizations by coding itself. Like in Vuforia engine solution, there are a lot of codings. The developers can do a lot of codings to do a lot of different customized experiences. But only thing is that those codings should be in such a way that they can be easily changed when there is a change request coming in. It should not be just millions of bytes of codes, which finally, once it is done, people may not be able to understand from where to start and where to end. And if there is a change happening, which portions of the code should be, changed. So it should be as modular as possible, and as far as possible, it should be in a very good framework and with all those industry standards followed. Next comes about the information. So what info do you need to augment? Okay. Yeah. So what info do you need to augment? Do you want text and data to be included in your experience? Do you want images? Do you want sound to be included? Do you want certain videos to be included? The ones which you capture otherwise, other than that, do you want some standard videos to be included? Do you want 3D holograms to be included? Do you want haptics to be included? I was mentioning about use of integrating with haptics for medical cases. Do you want information from coding and logic? Do you want different artificial intelligence and machine learning models from which you need to get the information? So if, say, for example, I need to add a video, the complete size may increase, right? So when you try to add content, we need to understand what will be the overall size of that particular experience, because once the experience is authored, that is then sent to the cloud, and from there publishing happens, and then it is downloaded to the respective devices. So there is always a possibility that if the entire experience is heavy, then you will have a very jarring experience while trying to launch. It may take a lot of time. Then secondly, how will you source the content? Will it be purpose built content for a particular requirement, or will it be something which can be reused from already which has been used? Do you want to have Internet of Things and OT data to be included in your augmented reality experience? Do you want some IT data to be included? Do you want to have a simulation engine as a source, or do you need to have a AI or ML engine to be source of information to be included in the augmented reality experience? Or do you want a human assistance as a source? Now, again, how will you configure information? Do you want to hard code it, or will it be a file system, or will it be coming from a content server, or will you also include information from your PLM system, product lifecycle management system, or your BIM information systems, right? This also we need to consider. Now, when you say I want content from a PLM system, then you will get all the different CAD data which is managed in the PLM can be brought into a lightweight visualization format in Vue4U platform. So say for example, if it is data and text, then as you saw the Howden example, you see a lot of data and text being created in the AR experience to interact with. If it is 3D holograms, then you saw in the IKEA example, a kind of selecting the furniture, they are all 3D holograms. If you want human intelligence to be, and assistance from a human should be the source of content, then you saw in the remote assistance app, which is for your chalk, which is the chalk mark is the augmented reality piece. Similarly, if you are including artificial intelligence or machine learning sources, then there are a lot of different ways in which you can integrate that. And if you want it to be an overall digital thread which will connect multiple different departments, you really want to see how I can configure that information for as well as from these different departments like engineering, sales and marketing, service, etc. Then do you need to really create that thread? We call it a digital thread, that connectivity between one department to another, or one stream of one group of people to another group of people, like that. So you need to consider all that when it comes to the content. Next comes the delivery. So in the delivery side, that means when you try to initiate your experience, the experience which is used by the person who is at the other end. So the question will be, how will you initiate your experience? Will it be a separate hard-coded app which you will create for this particular experience? Or will it be like you can pick from a menu and keep looking at the different experiences? Or will you scan a marker and then it will get initiated? Or it will be like a near field wireless initiation, or whether it could be a fusion of sensors. So if it is a dedicated app, you can see a lot of apps which you download from your App Store or Google Play Store. We need to create one. If it has to be related to a scan marker, then such QR codes can be utilized for that. There are a lot of authoring tools which can create a QR code, and then you can relate your AR experience to that particular QR code. Or if it is a image marker, then you can have the logo of your institution and the code around that. And if it is just a URL, that means you just send a link to somebody, he clicks that, and it automatically opens the viewing app, which is, in our case, it is Vuforia View, or if it is a dedicated app, that should come up. Then that could also be a initialization technique. Next would be mapping. How will you anchor your content? It could be either unregistered, or it could be 3D waypoint, or it could be a detected surface, or it could be a marker coordinate system, object coordinate system, or read tetherable. So you need to understand how, say for example, if we need something has to move from one point to another, that is what we call it as 3D waypoint. So for example, here you see this. No, we are trying to say something has to move in this fashion, right? So we can create that mapping accordingly, and our experience also should work around that. Now, if it is with respect to a coordinate system, then will it be, the experience means the product which we are trying to see as an experience, it has to be related to some point. It should be mapped with respect to some location. So if that is so, then we actually, when we create experience, we place this, say, for example, if the experience is launched by scanning this marker. Now, if the marker is like this on my screen, if I scan it with my mobile facing it, how should my experience come up with respect to this? Now it is seen as vertical. So suppose I am trying to bring up a bike. Will the bike stand in such a way that its front view will come when I scan it like this, or will it come in such a way that I am looking from the top of the bike or from the side of the bike? What should be the orientation? So that when we create the experience, we need to understand and then make it accordingly. Similarly, when you try to show your mobile device on a plain surface and tap it, then how should that experience orientation should be, right? Then again, after launching that experience, there will be a requirement for how will you track your location. So is it going to be a manual way, or is it going to be a GPS way, or is it through beacons? Something like this, beacons. Or is it going to be a image recording or object recognition, sorry, image recognition or object recognition, or is it going to be a terrain recognition, or is it going to be a sensor fusion, or is it something which is through a artificial intelligence? So that is also required when we try to localize it by tracking your location with respect to the delivery of the content. Next is transport. How will you send that info from device to the user? So will you use already cached information in the experience, or will you use something which is cached, means that will be dynamic, or will we use something which has to be downloaded and seen offline, or will it be live streaming? So as an, it will be always connected to the internet, and from the cloud it will be, the experience will be live streamed. Then how do you get the feedback from the user? Suppose you touch on your mobile touch screen, and then that whatever you do there goes as a interaction with the other user. Or is it through voice? Is it through gestures? Say for example, in voice you can use, like hey Siri, hi Cortana, and those kind of voice commands. Just now I said hey Siri and my iPhone came up, Siri asking what should I help for. Then it could be through gestures. You can use on, for example, for HoloLens, you have to, if you want to select one particular command, then you have to pinch both your thumb and the index finger. And in mobile phones, yes, of course, you have to touch a particular widget which you would have created with your index finger or any other finger. Similarly, whether your feedback has to be through a UI or through a screen, or whether a eye tracking mechanism has to be used, or whether a location has to be used, or whether you will employ some IoT sensors to get the feedback. Say for example, if we have to integrate a machine details, a sensor which is having in the machine, that data through IoT internet infrastructure will go to the cloud, and there, based on the data, the IoT platform, it will be pushed to the IoT platform, and the necessary information which is required from the physical product will be, contextualized and sent to your AR experience, what through which you are, whatever is the gadget through which you are seeing the AR experience. So it could be any of these. So you need to decide that. So finally, we discussed each and every portion. So again, we are seeing the sum total of the entire framework for planning the AR experience. So be it the strategy, content, or delivery. Now let's see some examples. Now this one you saw, this experience IKEA, which is a product hologram. So if you look at the strategy, this has to be an augmented reality experience. It has to be visualized. The simulation is through sight. There is no sound or touch. The device to be used is phone or tablet. It should be available in iOS, Android, or cross platforms. When it comes to content, it has to be visualized over a plane. That means you need to position it over a flat floor or flat plane. Then how do you create the experience? So for this experience, coding has been done. So this is done in Vuforia engine. So a lot of coding has been done. Text and data has to be included in this for a lot of information about the furniture. Even 3D holograms has been used. Then it is purpose built for IKEA, and a lot of IT data has been the content in that. And all the things are stored in a particular content server from where it is pushed to your delivery mechanism. The app which is created is also IKEA hard-coded app, a specific app. And the mapping is by detecting a particular surface, so that where all this augmented reality of the furniture has to be placed. Then the location means manual. It is manual. Wherever you decide, it should be placed there. And the experience need to be downloaded. That means it can be downloaded when it is connected to the internet, and then it need to be shown offline. And the feedback has to be given through a mobile touchscreen. So that is how the strategy or the framework has been created for this particular IKEA experience. Next is the BA experience, which you saw for manufacturing work instructions. Here, the reality is an augmented reality. The capability which for which the augmented reality is used for is for instruction as well as for sensing, and mostly it is sight. And the experience is The device used is a head-mounted display, which is the HoloLens, and the platform, because it is a HoloLens, it is Windows platform. And what is the reference model? That is the 3D object model, which is required to be, you can see this 3D object model. And the experience has been created not by coding, it has been created by authoring, leveraging 3D data which is already available, and text and data, images, 3D holograms, all this has been included in this experience. There are information coming from the PLM system. And how do you initiate experience? In your experience, you need to pick a menu, and that initiates that experience. Say in your HoloLens, you need to pick a particular menu, and that experience will come. The placement, the content anchoring is with respect to the objects coordinate system, and the localization is by recognizing the object, and it needs to be downloaded, and the feedback has to be given through, because it is HoloLens, it is usually always given through gestures, or it could be an UI, or a lot of UI, user interface, on a virtual screen which you see through the HoloLens. Another example is for knowledge transfer capture, where you use Vuforia expert capture. Again, that experience has to be augmented. Here the purpose is to guide somebody, and both sight and sound has been used. Then again, head-mounted display, which is HoloLens and Windows OS platform. Here the capture is in the space. You are capturing as it is, the physical objects which are there, you are capturing, so it's called 3D spatial capture. And the way of authoring is just capturing the steps and the sound and the image and video, etc., just by capturing. And then what all things have been included in that? Images have been included, sound has been included, additional video has been included. Then this content has been purpose built, and again it is managed in a content server. Again, it is all menu picked. The instructions is by 3D waypoint. You may have to move from one point to another point to do the entire process. So it is 3D waypoint, and the location is GPS. So when you move from one point to another, it is all GPS location through which, and it has to be streamed. Whatever has been created already, it has to be streamed. The feedback is through voice. So you say, hey Cortana, or even through gestures. Another example is knowledge transfer replay. Whatever has been captured by the remote, by the expert, has to be utilized by the field worker. Then it becomes an assisted, as well as it becomes an augmented type of reality, and it is used for instruction. Sight and sound is there, and both phone and tablet can be used for this. It could be through a normal computer, or it could be a head-mounted display. It should be made available in all these different platforms. It is, actually in the physical setting, it is like a spatial capture which the end user is going to use, and the way method is of capture, and it is purpose built, images, sound, video, everything included, right? So the same thing which we captured is being transferred to somebody else. And here in the localization, there is a terrain recognition also given as part of that to track your location. And here voice, gesture, this one. Apart from that, your location is also required for feedback. You need to move from one place to another, pick up something and come back and fit, and all those things. And then data from the IoT sensors, like if you picked something, it should know that yes, you picked the right component from another table. So there are a lot of IoT sensor related data being used. And suppose if you're trying to tighten something, pick that object and put it into something and tighten it, then there may be a tightening information like torque or something which needs to be given back as a feedback, so that it says yes, you have completed a task the way it has to be done. So those kind of things, when you require, then you require IoT sensor data. Then another example is this warehouse logistics, where a material handling equipment and a person is guided to go to the right track and pick up a particular component. In that case, again, the reality is augmented. The purpose is to guide. Mainly it is through sight. Again, HoloLens in Windows platform. The capture of the experience is through a spatial capture. It is again authored. It is not coded or it is not ad hoc. It is authored. It's created. This experience is created, and text and data, images included. IoT data is included. IT data is included. Sorry, IT data is included. IoT data is included. The content is in a server, and to launch it, you need to scan a marker. You also need mapping as a 3D waypoint because you need to be navigated from one point to another. And it is all through beacons. The navigation is through beacons like this, and it has to be streamed. The way it has been captured, it has to be streamed, and the command given is through voice as well as through location. Suppose you go to a wrong location beyond this, then it will again it has to re-guide you back to the original location. Similarly, another example you saw for customer self-service. There again, the experience was augmented. It was for instruction as well as for guidance. Mainly all the experience is through sight. It was through a phone and tablet. It was made available in iOS, Android, and cross-platform. The input is a 3D model, and it was authored in Vuforia Studio. Text data, images, 3D holograms were included. The content was reused because there was a 3D data there, and it was reused. IoT and OT data was included. Then, some kind of, in this case, so some kind of AI and ML engine is also a source for this. Then some information has come from PLM systems, and this was initiated by scanning a marker, and the entire superimposition of the digital content over the physical is through the reference of the object coordinate system. Again, the object has been recognized to initiate it. The experience is downloaded, and it is through a mobile touchscreen. Then when it was for remote support, you saw the chalk example, and then it was augmented. It was for guidance, sight and sound was used. It was through a phone, tablet, etc. So like that, for each, there are more use cases, like for a human machine interface, the Howden example, then these are the strategy, content, and delivery mechanisms used. So this way, the different, remote support, these virtual human machine interface, then these are the strategy, content, and delivery techniques used. Then somewhere customer self-service. Then again, down the line, you can use any of those strategies. So ultimately, our intention should be to increase the productivity and quality of work. And you need to have a differentiated product or service which is being offered through this augmented reality experience, so that customer appreciates that and buys even by paying a premium. You would like to use a next generation human machine interface. You want to transfer knowledge to new workers, or you want to support a new customer business model. You select like that IKEA example, and many more. So there are a lot of high value use cases for enterprise AR, and there are long list of technology requirements which can be used for your enterprise AR. And then you need to think about a proper enterprise AR suite, which a solution which has got multiple capabilities to be used. And if that is so, then you can check out Vuforia, which is our PTC platform, which is the world's first enterprise AR suite. So that was for a typical framework for so many industry applications. Now I will also, you have time, so I will also walk you through some academic related things. Okay, do I have to reshare this? Let me reshare another PPT. Okay. So, Mr. Hari, please confirm, do you see this Center of Excellence PPT?
Yeah, yes, sir, we can.
Okay. So, so that was all industrial framework for defining what should be your AR strategy. So I will also, since you have enough time, I will also explain the audience about how do we position AR in an academic institution by form of helping that institution to create a center of excellence around AR. So if you look at this survey, which is done by a Manufacturing Institute and Deloitte, over the next decade, nearly 3.5 million jobs are need to be filled. And even though there are 3.5 million jobs, it is expected because of the skill gap of not having knowledge in the latest technology like AR, there is a probability that 2 million of these jobs will be unfilled. So filling jobs is not an easy task. Around 84% of the senior executives agreed in the US manufacturing industry that there is a talent shortage. And even if you recruit somebody, it takes almost 3+ months to make them skilled. And if it is other areas, then accordingly, like if it is engineers, researchers, scientists, then 94 days. If it is skilled production worker, then 70 days. If it other areas, 48 days. Then because of this, 80% of the manufacturing companies are willing to pay more than the market rates to have such workforce, brought into their company. Then 6 out of 10 of the skilled production positions are open. Then, so developing talent is very, very essential. You need to have people with the multidisciplinary skills so that they can be absorbed in the industry. So where does the skill come from? It comes from academic institutions, it comes from center of excellences, it comes from technology centers, it comes from training institutes. So the most effective skilled production workforce strategies are because either 94% of them feel that an internal employee can be trained and developed. 72% of them feel that you can involve local schools and other community colleges for the development. 64% of them say that training and certification programs can be run for this skill development. And 49% of them interestingly feel that people who have just retired, the veterans, there should be some programs to rehire them. Now, 70%, so executives also agree that 70% of people do not have the necessary technology or computer skills. 67% of the people lack basic technical training. 69% of them lack problem solving skills, and 60% of them lack math skills. So it is really affecting the business because of this talent shortage, and 82% of the executives believe that the skill gap will impact their ability to meet customer demand. So the executives say that new technologies have to be implemented. So 78% of the executives say so to increase productivity. 69% wants to use this technology to provide effective customer service, and 62% of them wants to use this technology to innovate and develop new products, and 48% of them want to use this new skills to expand internationally. Now, when it comes to the present day engineers or the budding engineers from institutions like yours, we would say that they're all smart product engineers. They are students who craves for connections, who wants to realize the full potential of smart connected devices. They're always trying to seek ways to create better, to have a better user experience or better usage of the product. They understand both mechanical and digital components of the product. They also understand how does it seamlessly integrated into a smart device. They come equipped with all these sensor informations of smart products. They would like to incorporate these technologies into their designs. They work a lot with data, want to leverage data and use that to their design as well as for their engineering, making them better. So unlike our old generation engineers, the present generation is something like this, and they will have opportunities maybe to have a startup or maybe to develop an IoT or AR application, or just to make a smart product design, or they can get into analytics and data science, or this could be used for industrial automation or embedded system design, etc. So to make good use of that, PTC offers different products like this. In CAD/CAM, CAE is Creo. In IoT, it is ThingWorks platform. In engineering calculation, it is PTC MathCAD. In PLM, it is Windchill, and in AR, it is Vuforia. So we do, have a lot of academic programs. In fact, in US, 14 out of the top 15 US engineering schools are our customers, and over 500. This is way back in 2016. Over 500 new universities have joined the PTC IoT academic program. We also have tied up with Udemy to create a lot of online courses, micro open online courses or massive open online courses. And we also work very closely with the national policy on skill development. We try to set up state-of-the-art labs and center of excellences in, the theme could be Industry 4.0 or Industrial IoT or augmented reality, etc. Idea is to transform the skill of the workforce or the students from these institutions to prepare them for employability in the industry. And in this also we ensure that the expertise from the industry is also transferred to the students via courses, so that we prepare them for and increase their potential for future job purpose. So one such initiative has been done in IIT Delhi, one significant initiative. And since it is IIT Delhi, just wanted to share that. So in their Hoscast campus, along with the Automation Industry Association, PTC and other partners like Kuka, Rockwell, Festo, Grindmaster, etc., we created a fully integrated smart manufacturing learning facility in IIT Hoskas, and we call it as Foundation for Smart Manufacturing. So this is a snapshot of some of the machine stations which are there as part of the entire industrial IoT and smart manufacturing. This thing you can see a Kuka robot standing. These are all assembly stations which are smart connected with RFIDs and PLCs and all the stuff. You have ThingWorks, dashboards coming out, IoT dashboards shown there. There are human machine interface. Then they have created augmented reality experience for service and maintenance of these different workstations. So ideally, it is a integrated smart manufacturing and learning facility which is set up for discrete and hybrid manufacturing segments such as automotive, consumer durables, processed foods, etc. It is also a center for supporting extensive skill building for MSME consultancy, and also for multi-academia partnerships and research. So it is actually a place which is posing as a fillip to the competitiveness of Indian manufacturing. The workstation cyber physical lab layout. Now, of course, a lot of other things which has come up. So you have first the conveyor running all through. Then you have this first station where the raw part is brought in, it is loaded and quality check is done. The pallet which comes and loads is fitted with RFID. And in the next station, there is a uh, axisymmetric part which is assembled, quality checked. Then in the next station, a prismatic part is assembled and some screws are put, and then it comes through conveyor. And here again, further, parts and assemblies operations happening. Then here again, there is a QC happening and some more assembly happening. And then finally, the parts are checked and the finished products are stored using this KUKA robot. It will pick it up and put it in a container in a proper way. And then finally it is packaged, and that package is then further set to functional testing. So for this, a lot of technologies has been used. PTC's technologies like Vuforia Studio, Vuforia Chalk, and then IoT platforms like ThingWorks has been used apart from other products. So basically, the AR has been used for predictive service, AR enabled service, remote expert collaboration, that is through Vuforia Chalk. Another example is in PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore. Our partner MaxByte has created this digital factory experience center in the production engineering department by retrofitting those machines with sensors and also connecting them together so that there is a combination of IoT and augmented reality. So they encourage people coming in from other academic institutions and industries for a tour on digital engineering, digital operation, and digital service. Of course, because of COVID-19, this is not stopped for the time being, but I think they do it every third Saturday of the month. So like that, there are a lot of center of excellences which we have created in major cities like Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, etc. Even our partners, global system integrators like Infosys and Capgemini and Deloitte and Tech Mahindra and all those people, they have also L&T technology services. So they have also created multiple center of excellences using our technology showcased and bringing in academia and industry together. Right. So the idea is to create awareness, discover the latest technology, and give access to the high quality software in a very discounted price, so that our students will go through innovative learning and they are mapped their skill for industry requirements, and they also have the long-term proficiency, which will help them to get hired, recognized, and get them ahead. So there are a lot of companies which are already using these technologies, and they can always be having better chance in such major companies, small or big, right? So as part of the project structure, what we say is that institution has to have some machinery, equipment, software, hardware, and manpower. This all will be provided by PTC and its partner. Institution has to give some space for the setting up the lab. Some financial contribution to buy the softwares and hardwares is required, and also the trainer program which we run, which will then further, those trainers will further run a curriculum for the students. We will support the institution for 2 years, and it's totally for 3 years. From third year onwards, we expect the institution to be running on their own. And from fourth year onwards is just the renewal of the subscription of the software, because it's all on subscription based. And then there will be, throughout these 3 years, there will be a governance structure which will consist of PTC, its partner, and the institution people. And the institution can decide what are the labs to be created. So we are discussing about AR now, but however we because we have so many other solution platforms. Apart from augmented reality lab, we also help in creating IoT lab, a product design and development lab where you can teach CAD, CAM, CAE, PLM, etc. A validation lab where you can have a lot of simulation tools, a manufacturing and machining lab, a reverse engineering lab, a rapid prototyping or 3D printing lab, or a virtual reality lab. So these different types of labs can be created and appropriate software and hardware can be positioned. Some snapshots of Internet of Things lab and augmented reality lab. The minimum gadgets which you may have to be deployed would be maybe a mobile and iPad. If you can afford HoloLens, then you can go for that. So this is our Center of Excellence program, right? So let me go back to the original one. Our original topic. Yeah. So we saw that we need to develop a framework by having the right delivery mechanism, the right content, and the right strategy for creating a AR experience. And we saw a lot of use cases and we saw that for each of those use cases, when it comes to strategy, content, or delivery, what are the various things which they have selected for your understanding. So when we plan anything around augmented reality, you need to plan the framework by sitting with the people who are concerned and then accordingly acquiring all those things which is supposed to be required. And when you create an experience, before even you start that, you need to plan what all things you need to incorporate. What is it for? Is it for visualizing, or is it for instruction, or is it for guiding? What all things to be included in that? Because as you keep including more number of content, the entire experience becomes heavy. So from our experience, we suggest as a best practice that your overall AR content, since it has to be streamed from the server, the cloud server, and brought into your mobile, it should be, best practice should be that the overall content should not be more than 20 MB. So there are a lot of mechanisms by which there are inbuilt mechanisms in our platforms where it optimizes the heavy content which comes inside. It gives you 3 different versions: heavy, medium, and light. Accordingly, the richness or the details of the content, the richness will not be compromised. The details of the content will be stripped off, and then it will be optimized and given. Even we have a technique called lightweight visualization. The 3D content which you bring in for creation in applications like Vuforia Studio, it is 95 to 97% reduced into by converting into a lightweight visualization format called Creo View format, which is then used for creating all this AR experiences. So that itself is reducing. On top of that, further optimization of the size of the content is also reduced. Some people would like to add videos, so we discourage them, because augmented reality itself is a visual thing. You can create some animations and make that experience really effective. Why do you require a video again? So if you want to include video in an augmented reality experience, you watch the video itself separately by through a link. Why do you want it to include an augmented reality experience? Unless it is some kind of a marketing thing where you need to have a small video introducing the company or its product, something like that. So we need to really see what essential is required for the AR experience and accordingly reduce the size so that it streams well, it is real time. In India, the problem of internet connectivity. We have mobile phones in each and every nook and corner, but our internet infrastructure still is not good. You get inside a room, you don't get the proper bandwidth. So those kind of problems still exist, which has to be taken care of, unlike developed countries where download speeds and broadband speeds are very, very high compared to what we have now. We have the technology, we have the infrastructure, we have the hardware, but unfortunately, because of the service offered, it is not up to the mark. So all those things we need to consider. Right, so I think I finished early. I had a time till 4 o'clock, but that's all what I had to have for this particular session. I'm open to questions.
I request the participants to kindly post your questions. You can directly unmute yourself and ask.
There are, you have enabled chat, right?
Yes, sir. Chat is also enabled, sir.
Okay.
Participants can post your questions in chat window also.
Thank you, Mr. Raghunayagan. So in this session, we have around 87 participants. Very good participation. Nice. How many
Okay.
people attended in the morning session?
Around 120, sir. Total registration is 127, sir.
Okay, fine. So I believe a lot of different college professors and lecturers have attended this session, right? So if anybody requires a dedicated session for your college, or if you're looking at utilizing these technologies and set up or include in your academic curriculum by just as some credit courses, or would like to include as a center of excellence, please approach me. Maybe I can put my email ID here. We would be glad to do that. You can come and present again with live experiences, have a discussion. We'll guide you as to how to go about it. And we really understand that it's not that only we can do everything what you want. We will always include the ecosystem. We will have the necessary partners for software, additional software and hardwares. So we'll guide you, because we have a lot of experience helping a lot of premier institutions all over, not only in
Sir,
India but
sorry
other
to
places.
interrupt, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, your phone number and mail ID is not visible in the screen.
No, no, I put it in the chat.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Put my email ID in the chat.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I'm not putting my phone number because I will not be knowing who is calling and I might not pick up. So it's better to first contact through email ID,
Sure,
and
sir. Okay, sir.
then we can talk.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So these PPTs, let me check how much of information can be shared, and then I will convert into a PDF and I'll share to the organizers, who can then in turn share to others.
Yes, sir. We will be sharing to them. Thank you, sir. Hari, Mr. Hari?
Oh, yes, madam.
Okay.
Oh,
If there is no more questions, shall we conclude?
Did we lose him?
Hari,
okay.
sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'll
Yes.
continue.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, on behalf of our CSC department and coordinator of this faculty development program, I convey my sincere thanks to Mrs. Suresh for accepting our invitation and taking out your previous time to deliver two continuous sessions. Both the sessions were useful, and we came to know the current scenario of augmented reality and virtual reality in the industry. And also, I thank all the participants for your active participation. So the attendance form for afternoon session is posted in our WhatsApp group as well as in chat box. So we request the participants to put your attendance. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, the first day of the program comes to a formal closure. I request all the participants to rejoin tomorrow sharp at 10 a.m. So kindly join using the updated link. Thank you all.